Yes. Welcome once again. Welcome to Impact Masters in collaboration with Africa's Talking. Africa's Talking is a communication company providing USSD, SMS, airtime, mobile data, empowering developers across Africa, and making sure businesses are scaling. Today is a beautiful day. The day of the Lord. And today we have one and only Prince Charles Oduk. The man himself. A mechatronics engineer, project manager, senior consultant, tech entrepreneur, IoT expert, public and motivational speaker. This one guy will tell you can start a chicken business using a feather. You need that courage to build what he has built so far. Charles Oduk is branded a serial innovator. Charles is a multi-award-winning enthusiast tech entrepreneur with diverse knowledge in the tech startup and Internet of Things (IoT) ecosystem. He has managed to build IoT tech innovations from scratch through all 6 stages of product development to the market today. Technology is his passion, and he wishes to venture deeper into understanding how he can create a difference in the lives of the other people across the world using technology. Charles Oduk believes in changing Africa in our lifetime by building sustainable solutions that address the problems we face as a continent, especially now with the 4th industrial revolution, where technology is widely open source and available. Young people need to be empowered to believe in their dreams of changing the African story. How are you, Charles?
I'm very well, sir.
You good?
Yes. Very good.
Yeah, that's what is on paper. So I like starting with that for the people who are going to search you up. I'm sure this is what they're going to see. But ideally here we like to start all the way back and come chronologically to where we are. And I would like to know, where did Charles Prince Oduk started?
You know, when I hear all those titles being mentioned about me, sometimes it's usually like, you know, those Obama stories you just want to read and write about. So Charles Oduk is I don't know, they say it's a jack of all trades, but I think I'm literally almost everything.
Yeah.
So when I look back to how far this journey has been for me, it's been I'm one of those people who say I'm self-motivated. So some few things that people don't even know about me. I was born in the slums.
Okay.
Where
were you born?
There's a slum in Eldoret called Langas. So much as my place of birth on my certificate it's written Migori. My mother actually, we did live in the slums for quite a while. I had an elder sister who passed away when I was 3. So those are stories that are not even known out there. So I have actually lived the life of the highs, the lows, the ugly, the beautifuls, the peaks and the lows. I've literally almost experienced everything as young as I am. I believe. And one thing that life has taught me is you will keep on learning. So I was born in the early 90s. I was the second born in our family. And at the time I was literally born in poverty. So I had a first-hand experience in poverty. My mom literally used to hawk groundnuts, njugu, in primary school, Aga Khan Primary School in Kisumu. And by this time, I was literally an infant, so she would carry me along. And then as life would have it, I don't know what happened between them and my dad. They split. And then my sister got sick. My mom was not able to afford the hospital bills and stuff. So my mom passed away. My sister passed away.
Your mom is still there, though. Right?
Yeah, my mom is still there. Okay. She's literally my biggest support system.
I can imagine how proud she is.
Oh, trust me. Yeah. My mother is literally. I rather not have an entire million people supporting me, but my
just
mom.
Your mom.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
Yeah, so I grew then from that time when my mom and my dad split. Mm-hmm. My mom moved to somewhere called Kinda. Mm-hmm. It's a remote village somewhere near Lake Victoria. To be honest, I don't even know where that place is.
Yeah, until today.
Until today, there are certain places once you've walked, you just like, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the age of 6, mm-hmm. I was already fending for the family.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing what?
I was fishing.
Okay. So you're a fishmonger. Fishmonger is someone who sells the fish after the fisherman come.
Fishmonger, yeah. No, then I wasn't a fishmonger.
Okay.
I was a fisher boy,
okay.
you will call it. So okay. I will go fishing with men who go with fishermen, and whatever my salary will be one piece of fish.
What?
Yes. So
you'll go fishing at night. So
at night, yes. So okay. At this time, my mother is selling omenas and some other things in the market.
Yeah.
So in the evening, we'll come and combine, and then we have our food. So and my mom was really, really, really hardworking at that time. She just wanted everything to keep on unfolding for her. Mm-hmm. And I remember when she was able to take me to school, I was barefoot, and then I had too much shillings, those two things.
Yeah, because of malnutrition.
Yeah. So I never, literally, if you ask me, I never had a childhood.
Wow.
So and I remember one very specific experience, which was really, really nasty.
Yeah.
Something that I'm actively working against with every kid I ever come across who is, in the children's homes or starving on the streets. Yeah. There was a time I was from school. So one thing that my mother will do is she will leave some amount of money to a local restaurant, the Kibandaski.
Yeah.
And when I'm from school, barefoot, I will pass by there. But she would tell me in the morning, so Charles, leo nimeacha pesa ya chapati mandondo, you'll just pass there, eat, and then you come home. So this day she didn't leave. She didn't leave the money, and she didn't tell me. And she always told me, if I don't tell you, you shouldn't, don't.
Yeah.
Hey, me, I was starving.
Okay.
So I went to this hotel and I told them, here's the thing. My mom said she hasn't paid, but she told me to eat. She'll come and repay later. So I ate.
Okay.
Nikashiba vizuri kabisa. And then, so later that evening, when my mom was coming from work, so the hotel owner called my mom and she's like, Charles alisema utakuja kulipa ukirudi.
Yeah.
But then my mom is like, no. Today I didn't leave any money. So the hotel owner just lets my mom go like, okay, sawa. I was beaten.
By your mom?
No, by the hotel owners. This guy fetched me on the field. My mom is like, okay, sawa, maybe you guys did it on a friendly stuff.
I'll not pay.
Yeah. So my mom just left not knowing what was planned. I was beaten at the age of 5. I was beaten like a thief. Hey, from that day on, I was like, I don't think I will ever in my entire life look at a starving kid and judge them.
Yeah.
So up to date, I think that's part of what I do.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for feeding street kids, children home, and all that stuff. Maybe just a way of reflecting back to from where I came from and where I'm headed.
Okay.
So gradually, as time will pass by, after my sister died, it almost broke my mom.
So, at what age were you?
My sister died in 1996. So at that age, I was 4.
4 years old.
I was 4. So actually 95. I was 3.
Okay.
I was 3, and I remember when she died, my mom had gotten remarried to a drunkard.
Okay.
So you can imagine my mom was being beaten every day, and we were living in a madhouse at the time.
Yeah.
And it's my sister who will try and hold the. I don't know if that should be my dad, but whoever he was. And for me, I will just cry because I mean, I'm an infant. I don't know anything going on. Yeah. So my sister died when my mom was still married to this guy.
Okay.
And when that happened, my mom completely changed. It broke her. She was done with life.
Okay.
She was excessively suicidal. When she tells me all these stories, I think my mom has. I think she's even a survivor than I am, because one of the stories that my mother ever gave me nowadays, that she looks at me and she's seeing me on TV, doing rounds all over here and there, traveling. She's always like, "Do you know I was supposed to get rid of you during birth?"
What?
Yes. So when my mom was in the hospital giving birth to me, the doctors found lots and lots of traces of poison. So she was trying to kill herself while she was pregnant with me. So she was asked what was going on and she couldn't talk. So all those traumas, those are things that I think my mother went through. And when my sister passed away, she was like,
it was too much for her.
Yeah, I cannot continue living here because my son will also die as well. So she ran away. Went back to her mom, my grandma, and then
that is together with you.
Yeah, together with me. Yeah. We lived there for a while, and then she disappeared again. So she completely left me with my grandma.
Okay.
So I grew under the watch of my grandma, who was very, very strict. There is nothing that will skip that woman. She will put you back to line.
Yeah.
But I think that's where my push for, basically trying to find my purpose in life started. So I didn't know where my mom was. There were stories going around that my mother has turned into a prostitute. I wouldn't even play around with kids around me. Guys will be like, mtoto wangu, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And trust me, at such an age, it's really, really devastating, because you don't have your bio dad.
Yeah.
Your mother was remarried and then divorced again, and then now she's disappeared. So all those things are just hitting me one by one.
Yeah.
I remember one of the things I used to do is nilikuwa nalinda ng'ombe when my peers were going to school. I remember that very, very vividly well. And part of my stories are usually coming from the people who are closest to me. So my mother was born in a family of 13.
Okay.
And that's from just my grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a polygamous.
Man,
so he had a home and a couple of other wives. But from my grandma alone, there were 13, and all of them are still alive, by the way.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but she passed away in 2022 in November. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
So much as when I was growing up, I kind of hated everything about life. I think I've seen all the bitterness. Yeah. Those were some of the lowest moments of my life. When it gets to Christmas, Mimi, I was walking barefoot the entire time. During Christmas, ndo unabaiwa slippers. So that you can look presentable when the watu wa Nairobi are coming in for the. So that was my life for quite a while, until around 1999. Yeah, my mom one day just appeared, and
so she left you for a period of 4 years.
She left me for a period of, was it 4? No, not exactly 4 years, because this was 97.
Okay, 2 years then.
2 years, yes. Yeah. So she came back, and one thing I remember is I wasn't even able to deduce who she was. I was confused, like Auntie Tony. No, Auntie Tony ni yule. Auntie Jackie ni yule. I'm like,
because you're too young to.
Yeah, I'm too young and I'm already going through enough. So and then she says, I'm your mom.
Wow.
So I'm just like, where have you been all this time? No, I couldn't ask those questions, of course, because you're little.
So mom, man,
and my grandma is there, and my grandma.
The discipline is top notch.
The disciplinary committee is just looking at you there. So, so one thing that she did is she came. I remember on that day she came. She took a couple of pictures of me. Those are some of the pictures that I hold very dearly. Then she went again, and then she promised me she'll come back. I remember that day I was crying terribly. And it was raining, so she disappeared again. But this time not for too long. She came back with Brit Mzungu. Yeah. So the only thing that I knew at that time is that my mother was in Mombasa. So we didn't know what she was doing. So whatever was being said about me, at that age, when you're being told that your dad is a thief, you'll believe because you don't know where they are. So whatever was being branded about my mother and all that stuff, they were just hitting me like, okay, so it's actually true that you're in Mombasa. So but then as the story will later come on, one day she just came back with a mzungu and they were engaged. They were in the process of getting married. So in 2000 they officially got married. So my mom picked me even before the wedding, and we went to live in Mombasa. So I can actually say it was from that point that I started actually seeing life.
Oh, like this normal life.
Yeah, like the normal life. I was always living under. So, and this is at around age 8. But trust me, if you even look at my pictures from the wedding, I wasn't happy. Even my mom
confused,
was,
like, is this gonna last or just for a period of time?
Yeah, because you're already used to people leaving. And that's part of my life. I've always been used to
trust
people
issues.
living. I will not lie. I have proper trust issues. Where maybe if you come in and say, "Gee, you're my best friend," I usually even say, "Me, I don't think I have a best friend. I just have acquaintances." I was even telling Asiela just a few minutes ago. And so life would have it, I started going to proper school, and this was in Homa Bay. But remember, we're living in Mombasa.
Okay.
So during the
whole, you had to go to Homa Bay for school.
Yeah.
Or they from Mombasa.
Yes, and let me tell you something. I've never been a day scholar in my life.
So you're always boarding.
Always away from family.
Okay.
Yeah, so I never had that personal touch of knowing, dad, parents. Maybe I did feel a bit of my mother because she was there for most of the time, but that connection with fatherly love, that was never there for me. So I remember at Sango Academy in Homa Bay, I was barely 8-9 years. And one thing that will happen is, mimi nilikuwa naiko kwa gari, I'm being told, go, somebody's going to pick you at the stage. So that's what would happen. Until one day, a terrible accident happened. I usually call myself a miracle baby. Where the kind of things I've survived.
In this bus or?
In this bus. These buses were called the brown buses, linear coach, I think. They were called linear coach. So we are traveling from Homa Bay, and it's end of the term. And we reach Mtitwande, and then all of a sudden, the driver loses control and hits a baobab tree. And I'm seated at seat 8.
That's at night or during?
At night.
Okay.
I'm seated at seat 8. From seat 1 to seat 6. Kaput. Everyone died. Yeah. So they sent another bus. So my mom is already waiting for me on the other side because at this time there are no phones.
No phones,
Yeah. When I reached there, it was around 2. We were already 6 hours late from the arrival. 2 p.m.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, 2 p.m. We were supposed to have arrived by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So my mom picks me, and then she's given the whole story, and she's like, "Hey, no, I don't want this depression anymore. My son will just have to come close to us." So that's how I moved. I changed schools to somewhere in Mombasa.
Okay.
So somewhere called Chuda. And we were living in Nyali. My stepdad, the Brit, he was a teacher at Mombasa Academy. Mombasa Academy is the version of Nairobi Academy, the same school that Tidy High is acted on. So we live in the servants' quarters, and that's where basically I had my primary school. So it was a good ride. One thing about everything, all this history that I had gone through, and this is something that everybody says. Everybody's usually like, well,
it's a cliche.
If you have gone through all these things in life, you can never back down. And that's, I think, the people call me hardworking. I don't know how to go back. I don't know how to, because I know where I'm coming from. So one thing that
there's nowhere to go back.
There's literally nowhere. Me, I usually pray and tell God, me, by the way, it's either you or I'm nothing.
True.
So one good thing that I did do is once I got that opportunity to step into school, I put in my effort. I did the big work. So I got my 375 marks in KCP, but at this time, Mom had started getting sick. I remember when I was in class 6, she had to relocate. So that's when
relocate to
Migori.
Okay.
So she built her own place, So I was now again left on the other side of the world. But at least at this time...
Your stepdad or just alone?
No, my stepdad has actually moved, gotten another job in Dubai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, teaching
so he had to travel there?
We will see him every 3 or 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. After 3 or 6 months. So my mom will do farming, which she does to date. Still living in the same home to date. So I finished my primary school. I got my good grades. And then I remember when we finished was when the PV, the post-election violence was going on.
2007.
2007, yes.
Yeah.
So getting into high school again was another issue. So we struggled, and then in February I got in.
Which one were you invited in?
Kanga High School.
Yeah. Kanga is in Western or?
It's in South Nyanza. Actually, I wasn't called Kanga High School, to be honest. Because of the PEV, I was called to a school in Mombasa called Kamis Boys. But my mom was like,
that's not your level. No, I know how hardworking you are.
You can't just go into that. I was like, hey, mom, let me just go repeat. First of all, I was not happy with the 375.
Okay. You wanted to get over 400.
I wanted for 50s. I wanted to appear in magazines. But my mom is like, no, this is what the Lord has given you. You could go back there and get to something. So just take. That's why I was telling you earlier. My mom has always been my biggest support. Even when I was feeling down on myself, like I'm just like I'm a loser. Yeah. So I went into Kanga High School for the first 4 years, but then I think in high school is when I started realizing there were some traits from my past that were haunting me. So, and these are the really, real sad stories about my life. I think that's when I realized I'm a depressed person who doesn't know how to even tell people his story. So I will laugh with you, but then deep down I'm hurting.
Disconnected.
Yeah. So I remember during dawns, the morning preps. Yeah. Kanga High School was a national school. It's a national school, so it's a very strict school. Yeah. If you do not appear for those remedials, they usually do a counter check and they suspend you. So I used to get suspended. Wow. And guys are like, what is really wrong? Because you're not suspended because you're using drugs or alcohol. Yeah. You're just found sleeping. Hey, me, I was taking Piritons to oversleep
because you're
and die.
Always thinking about all this trauma and
yeah. And I just wanted to escape from reality. And I didn't know that's what is called depression. To be honest, you never know. Yeah. So you're just in some sort of deep thoughts. Everybody is misunderstanding you. To be honest, it even got to a point where my own mother stopped. Hakuwa ananielewa anymore. So because I wouldn't talk. Okay. I was the quiet kid who unaweza nigombeza and I'm just looking at you and then I let you go and then later on I cry on my own. Life moves on. Yeah. But when it comes to school now, I wasn't also disappointing. Hey. After going through all that, me ikifika kwa kitabu, I will chimba
so
that book.
You are the guy who had straight A's throughout.
Not exactly straight A's, but I do remember one of these times that I was caught with the pills because I was trying to commit suicide. I tried committing suicide 3 times in high school, by the way.
Which form were you in?
At Form 2, at Form 1 and Form 2. Oh, okay. Form 2 twice. Form 2 it was twice because there was a time I totally slid. Ile design ya kutoka top 50 to 100 and something huko.
You start now feeling like there's no future here.
Hey, father comes from Dubai and says, "Where I pay for you fees for you to come here and give me this." So it was a chaos. So you can't imagine when a mzungu is making noise in a black school.
And you felt like you have disappointed this man who, for once, stood for you as a dad.
Yeah, I really did feel bad because I'm trying to explain this story in my own way, but the words are not coming out. Hey, me, I just started crying. So at that point, there was a teacher called Mr. Moses. Mr. Moses was a CRE teacher, but he will just say, I think there's something you're going through and you're not talking about it. So at that time, I started trying to explain what life is. And I think he is the first person to actually tell me, your life is yours. At the end of the day, I know you're too young to understand this. Yeah. And yes, I was. So I remember one thing, and this is not to paint his name in a bad way. My stepdad actually did tell me that I will never make it in life. During that confrontation, and I was really, really hurt. Yeah. So I was like, he has always known that I wanted to do aerospace engineering. And I did mention to him that if at all I can get a scholarship to go do aerospace engineering, I will be perfect. Then he tells me, yeah, you can do this. So when he came back and found that my results were deteriorating, he was like, this is what you want me to get you scholarship in Imperial College London for. You can't make it with this. Hey, that was like, it was a breaking moment, but it was also a turning moment. Yeah. Because after that day, I went back to the books. I got an A from my high school. I wasn't joking anymore. Wow. So I got out there. Much as the aerospace thing was still in my head, my dad said, this is not possible. You don't have this money. It's really, really damn expensive. I remember at the time it was around nothing less than 200,000 to study it abroad.
Okay, that is per semester or?
No, for the whole course.
Okay.
Yeah, so I also remember we had difficulties even getting me into campus. So, me, I was told, hey, Baba, we don't have money with your good grades.
So things were a bit tough afterwards by the time you are completing your studies.
Yeah, we are now 3. There is my sister and my younger bro.
So your stepdad had other children with your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, you can't just stand there and say, so everybody was just like, hey, we are really trying to understand how we can help, but it's really getting hard on us. Yeah. So with your grade, and I remember that was also a breaking point versus a turning point. Yeah. My dad goes like, you can just go to a local college, start any career, and then you can switch later on in life. Hey, I jammed, bana. Yeah. I told them, chukweni hizo vitabu nyi pia mkasome. You think this is a joke? I got on a bus and came to Nairobi. That was the beginning of my life.
On your own?
On my own, yeah. I did come to Nairobi when almost everyone was against me. No, your life is going to change there. You're not going to be the same. You're going to get into messy businesses. The Nairobi half-life kind of thing. Yeah. I was given that. I told mom, it's better I go start struggling right now than wait for you guys to make your decision whether I should even go to school.
Yeah, well, I'm just here. You did not get an invitation from any of the universities?
I did get an invitation from Egerton.
Okay.
But now, it's not even about the Egerton part. It's not even about the Egerton part. Me, I was called to do aquatic science, and I'm like...
That's why I laugh, because I know Egerton majorly is agriculture-oriented university. Yeah. And they do even agriculture engineering and stuff like that. And I know they call guys who are days versus aerospace engineering. Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons why, because I did apply for JQuat. After I knew that my aerospace engineering stuff is gone, I did try for the TUC. At the time it was called...
Kenya Poly.
Yes. Yeah. They did have that course, but the aeronautical version, but I was
diploma.
Just like,
Most of those courses they really had good diploma courses, and with their diploma you can actually go and it was that good. Yes. So when you say they had, I totally understand.
Yeah, but I put them as a second option. The first option was mechatronics in JQuat. I didn't get a calling for that. Then electronics engineering JQuat, again not called for that. Electronics in KU, not called for that. And then aerospace in TUC, not called for that. And then now, when all your options are exhausted, they usually just throw you anywhere that's available. Yeah. So, they did call me at Egerton, but they called me at Egerton because I got an A in bio, but a B in physics. Much as I was so much into tech. I was literally an engineer way when I was way from young.
And for mechatronics, they look more on physics and math.
Yeah. First of all, I think one of the qualifications, I don't know if the system has changed, but one of the qualifications during my time was you must have at least an A plane of 81 points. I had 74.
That is for mechatronics?
Yeah. So that's for the government to sponsor you.
So JAB. Yeah.
JAB, yes. Yeah. So I didn't qualify.
Yes. Though nowadays it's called other names.
Help.
Cubes. Cubes. KUCCPS.
Oh, yeah.
Cubes. Before it was JAB. Joint Admission Board.
Yeah.
So I love JAB than the other one. The other one have so many conditions.
I think I also love JAB. Much as I didn't get there, but I could see my fellows went through
it. Was straightforward actually, and you could revise they had this option, you could revise your course. Either in the same university or another university. If you find maybe first semester, this is not it, and then you ask them if everyone who was scored for the other course, they made the quota. Because you see some other guys go to Harvard, Oxford, others Cambridge or Stanford. And then maybe they have a few slots there, and if you had passed and you didn't make it just by a point, doesn't make sense to deny you that chance.
Yeah, so I told my peros, manze, hey, the kind of things I've been through, I'm not going for something I don't want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I'll just go to Nairobi, find a life for myself.
Start the life.
So I went, started with the ICDL. And I was at IHRM. At the time, it was at the National Bank building. I was living with my cousin. And then gradually, I started adapting into Nairobi life, which was difficult. I moved into
Nairobi. What did you find difficult about Nairobi? Were you welcomed officially?
There is nothing that sikufanyiwa Nairobi.
How did they welcome you?
First of all, I won't mention the name, but it's a very close person to the family who told me, by the way, you know my mom at the time, he told me, when I got to Nairobi, I asked my mom, can I live alone? And he was like, Sulijipeleka Nairobi.
Figure it out.
We want you. So you find a way. So I called one of my relatives to, basically take me in, which he did, but I didn't know what was part of the package. Part of the package was when I got into HRM for ICDL, I talked to my mom again. I think these were one of the worst times that I had a very poor relationship with my mom, because we were struggling to understand each other a lot. My mom, I talked her into sending me fare. Ya kuja tao ku attend classes. So me, I did not have food. Sijui lunch, sijui what. I will get like 200 per day, and that's enough. But then that's my fare from Imaradaima to Tao. So there was one day she just said, hey, we umenishinda una hizi masimu. Let me be sending you 2,000 every 2 weeks. Ujipanga. Hey, but who is my relative? Kanambia, umeshatumiwa. Give me this money, I'll be giving you pole. On that day, hiyo siku nimempea hiyo pesa. Jamaa alirudi mlevi proper.
Sherehe with your money.
Amepiga sherehe na do yangu, so niko zile za wait. Tomorrow I'm supposed to go to class. Wewe, si unakula hapa? Tunakucharge. Nyamaza.
Was he a gentleman or a lady?
He's a gentleman. We are friends, by the way. That's why I don't want to mention his name. This could really ruin a lot of things. So life got a bit difficult. They were also having internal issues in their home, and I didn't want to, come in there. So
they used to live like a family, or?
Yeah, it was a family.
Okay.
It's still a family. So I moved out. Okay. Went to stay with another cousin of mine who was also again having issues. From this point, I went to stay in Githurai. Bas. Hapo ndo sasa Nairobi inaanza kugonga. So I'm attending these classes at ICDL. I'm pretending I'm happy, but deep down manze, I'm hurting like nobody's crap, because
what happened in Githurai?
In Githurai, kwanza I used to live huko ndani kwa nyumba ya mabati yenye it's half of this room, and we are sharing it with a lady friend who is our family friend. At some point she get depressed, hiyo pressure yote inarudi side yangu. So unajua huwezi do any wewe uko kwa wenyewe. So but then I was patient enough to understand what she was going through. Right now she's really doing good. So I stayed there for around 2 months, and then I moved to my another cousin's house, and then luckily I got sasa. By the time I was getting out of my cousins in Imara, I had applied JKUAT. Nilienda nika apply mwenyewe, nikamwambia I'll go on an SSP. I did not tell anyone at home. Remember, this is self-sponsored. These guys told you they don't have money.
Also, you don't have that.
I just went with kichwa ngumu. Me, I said, hey,
I'll go with this letter, like, look guys.
And that is exactly what I did. So I knew something had just told me I'm going to get accepted. And I was. So me nikasema, hey mom, kuna kitu ime happen. I need to come back home. Please send me fare Katuma. Then I went, I presented them the letter. I told them I went to Nairobi to start a life. So here are my documents. Here's the feedback from the university. These guys want me there. So what are we going to do? Hey, it was a back and forth. I'm telling you, it almost even split the family. Everybody is like, why are you doing this without telling us? Wey, sasa itabidi umejinice. Umekataa kwenda Egerton. We don't have... And everybody who was...
For Egerton, it was job, right?
Yeah, Egerton was job.
Okay.
And the thing is, every person who was... My stepdad literally assembled people to come and talk to me into just accepting that I need to go to Egerton. All of them, tunaongea vizuri, kifika tu ile malia, okay, there. I shut down. Because I knew what I wanted. Then finally they said, okay, fine. Wacha tukutafutia semester moja. That's how I started. So every semester was just like, I hope next semester I'll be in school. I hope next semester I'll be in school. And I never even failed to go for even a single semester. But one thing I always knew, me, I'm not dropping.
But I'm curious. So when you went to this first year, mechatronics, You know, there's what people hear mechatronics as before they join the course and when they join the course. For you, how was it?
I think one of the scariest parts of mechatronics before I even got there, because I had to research, aerospace is gone. So I had to research the next thing that will come close to aerospace engineering. And then I see mechatronics. So I started researching, what is this thing? Oh, this is the course where people build electronics and drones and robots and stuff. And I'm like, okay, sounds cool. So I could still end up in the aerospace field because, and it was there. I mean, then this is my route to aerospace engineering. I was literally obsessed with being an aerospace engineer. So, but then as life will have it later on, nikaanza kufind my interest is actually not even in aerospace. Totally. Me, I'm into building tech products, tech stuff. So there was my table full of electronics and me
circuit board and whatnot.
Siji utu to Ampex and to theaters zilikuwa ufas. People throw them away. Me naenda na savage.
Wow.
I remove the two electronic parts and then I build something nice hapo. Then luckily at the time JQuat, it's still there actually. There is something called JQuat Tech Expo. So JQuat Tech Expo is where you
I can see alumni is shaking their heads vigorously.
I think one thing that I usually applaud that school for is that was the platform, that was like literally my launch pad. Because I could go there and see how people are building nice things to robots. The first year I applied, I didn't get. So I went there to see what's really happening. So that's where I started, drinking from the firehouse programming, literally. Starting from 101. So
that is year 1, year 2?
That's year 2. Year 2, that's 23. And that's why, that's when I started. Then I said, this is now where I want to be. Aerospace, but it's been real. But I think I found what works for me. And from then I had always been appearing on the Tech Expo. And it kept on building me.
To some extent, you are featured. But we'll get there.
That's where I started getting attention, bro.
So the first project you built was?
It was called Automatic Farm Arrest System. It was a very conventional way of, a cage coming underground for bank robbers. You arrest automatically when they step into a place that they are not supposed to step into.
It did work?
It did work, but it wasn't implementation and investment wise. I mean, Kenya and Africa, we are struggling with very basic things. Hizo ni za majuu za kina Japan huko. So then I went into drones and robots. And I think that's what JQuat has always known me for until to date. Prince were robots. So I'll build a lot of them and present. Though I never won any award at the Tech Expo, but I got to meet really, really huge profile guys. Dashan Chandaria, Bitange Ndemo, Olive Gashara, I think William Ruto as well. At the time he was vice president. And then there was this big exposure that was organized by JICA, where the Japan Minister for Science, Technology, it was big. So that's like the first big publication I got. Well, but I think one thing to also mention, just in case it will ever appear somewhere on record, much as it looks like I had a perfect life in campus, I was still struggling with depression. In fact, on my final year, in 5th year in 2017, February, I was diagnosed with severe depression. I was even admitted 10 days.
Wait a minute. You're the second guest I'm hosting and they're talking about depression. And I like actually going a bit deeper on this. What is depression? Because even for you can actually imagine when you're suffering through all these traumatic experiences or post experiences, you could not just point it and say this is depression. But just paint that picture for maybe someone might be going through it right now, but they don't know what it is. They just feel tired, sleepy. I don't know how it is. I've never gone through it. Or maybe I'm going through it and I don't know. How can you actually say, okay, I need some medication attention or psychiatrist visit? I think it's I'll actually agree with you, because for me I also always just thought this is a mood swing. It's like a small thing that comes. And let us be honest with each other, guys. The fact that people usually say man, Mimi I advocate for men's health, mental health to be specific. I know this one is going to get me questioned, but mimi ni fan mkubwa sana wa Amerix. Amerix, people hate Amerix because he speaks the truth. But on the other side, if you actually look at what he says, he usually
is advocating for men standing up for themselves.
Yes.
Because for us, there's nobody who goes down to the street to protest for us.
Everyone expects you to show up.
Everybody just expects you to be the good person every day. And in fact, nowadays, the society has gotten it so obvious that if a man publicly says, I'm going through a hard time, then you're a sissy. Wait, go sort yourself, Fuko. But the reality of things is, when you're going through this thing, it's a very tough experience. Yeah. This thing is bad. Yeah. I remember when it was hitting me in my primary school, I was in my high school.
But what is it? What is this thing?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, that's where I'm coming at.
Okay.
So when this thing is coming, or rather when it's stepping in, it just steps in like a small mood. You just don't feel talking to people. So that's why I think I was going through it in high school, but I didn't know that's what depression is. Of course, we will study mental health, but in campus is when I knew what was going on. Like I can't sit to even watch a movie for more than 10 minutes. My mind is just thinking of its own thing, how I'm a failure, I've never had a life. People always look at me like, somebody who just doesn't deserve to win. At some point I was just like, what is it that I'm not doing? And sometimes I will tell you, even in my adult life, as big as I am right now, sometimes it's just that right now I know what it is. So when it's coming, I usually just either find a way of dodging it or something like that, or suppressing it. And that's the most important part. Once you've already realized that you're a depressed person, find a way in which you can cope with it. So depression comes in different forms. It could come from things that are related to your childhood, which I think are were majorly my contribution to mine. But how do you know that you're a depressed person? First of all, you don't do the things you commonly do. You don't want to take calls. You don't want to hang out with friends. You feel like you just want to sleep the whole time. You don't want food. You're literally forcing yourself to eat. And at some point, it hits you so bad that if you're now into drinking, which I was, when it gets to drinking now, it's bad. It's bad because.
So if you're drinking, you tend to drink more.
In fact, you drink for.
It's like an escape route.
Yes, it's a coping mechanism.
Does that also apply to other drugs?
Yes, it does. I just thank God that I never go to any other drugs. So
because you tend to use more to just escape the reality.
And I think that's a very big factor it's a very big contributor as to why most of the youth right now are going through depression. Or unasikia sijini so and so is nowadays using drugs. Now you see, everybody will judge you when they see that. Let me tell you another thing I never do. If I see somebody is excessively addicted to something, I never judge those people. Because you never know.
Maybe they're going through something.
They're going through a lot of stuff about their life. So I graduated.
But wait a minute before we move away from the depression part. So how do you address this once you realize maybe, the way I'm feeling, it's not normal, where do you start?
I think I'll just go with my method. One thing I did realize is I was so much engrossed into what I wanted to become. So you start getting obsessed literally with what you want to become. There's somebody who once said in a podcast like this, she said, it's a she and she's a Kenyan, I just don't know her name. I was going through it on TikTok, Juicy. And she says, if you want to be rich, you have to start thinking like you're already rich. Person, and that's where I started. So I was just like, hey, me tomorrow I could be the next Bill Gates banner. You guys will be seeing me and admiring my work. And things like even traveling was once a dream to me, bana. Kijana mwenye alikuwa anatembea mguu chuma. And I started just saying, no matter what, I know where I come from, and the graph for me will never be flat or going down. It will always keep on rising. So whenever I feel low and I realize, wait, this is depression stepping in, the first thing I do is, what have I not built? Beba Begi, what have I not built? I need to add something. We need to build V3. And kidogo, you just realize 6 hours have gone into you thinking about this to product, and something for some reason has just diverted your attention into something completely different. But to some extent, pia huwa inalemeanga mtu hadi you feel like you don't want to talk. And at that point, I usually take long walks with a lot of music. and or drives. That's when I used to drive kitambo. I still drive, but I don't have a car nowadays.
This chief is the TSI club member with some shares. And you know TSI. If you know TSI, it's a good car. You can move.
Yeah. And I think that focus. Actually, when I was coming to Africa's Talking when I met Sam Gikandi in 2018 towards the end, I was going through a very hard time.
Okay.
I was depressed again.
Okay.
But this time around, I said one of my worst years in my entire life, if I would rank them, that would be 2022, 2023. Last year was really bad. And then 2018, 2017. So when towards the end of the year, I remember I was coming from a very disastrous relationship.
Last year or?
No, 2018.
2018.
I was coming from a very, very...
This is after school? After graduation?
Yes,
or?
I had graduated. I had even gotten to work.
Yeah.
So
you did really well in your mechatronics engineer degree.
I tried.
Don't talk about it like it's just, I graduated. The dude got a second upper, which is really impressive for mechatronics as JQuat, public university.
Actually, that was top of my class.
That's like first class in some, I don't know, Cambridge or Harvard or something. Yeah. JQuat alumni here, they are killing me with the agreement. There's a JQuat alumni in the house. So guys, when I refer to JQuat alumni, some other person who is not on the camera, but is a JQuat alumni.
Yeah, I mean, we are JQuats.
Yeah,
we do our thing.
We love you guys. Come on. Jujamaica, who doesn't love Jujamaica?
Yeah, so I think one thing that I totally beat against the all odds is when I was going into first year, everybody told me there is no way you're going to escape Vuta Bangi. I was told, Uwezi Hepa, this is Juja. I got out there without even a single puff.
You didn't meet anyone?
No, I did. Even my neighbors would make a lot of noise when they're smoking. And for some reason,
you just chose not to.
I don't know. I never got that interest. But alcohol na nitakubali. Me kwanza at some point I was even misusing.
But I hear if you take a lot of alcohol, bangi is not the best.
I see.
For some reason, I don't know. True? I don't know. People in the house, is this true? This one must have taken a lot of things. But if you observe, by the way, there's some correlations there, but it's not entirely factual or scientific. But I don't know. You might tell me. I'm not the best guy to really say anything about that, but if you really indulge into alcohol, rarely will you find the fun in
so you choose your poison, basically.
I'm saying again, I'm not the right guy to really tell you this.
Well, I totally, I don't know.
So you never indulged in that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay.
No.
So you thank God for that.
I thank God that I struggled with alcohol only.
Yeah. And they also, marijuana in Jamaica, some of it is laced with other, concussions of. So that means you might get yourself into other drugs, trying to,
Yeah, I think I will admit. I've taken that thing. Hey, nimekumbuka. There's a road trip we went and we were given to cookies. Mimi, I'm eating.
Finally.
Mimi, I'm eating this thing. Nikijua niku?
Cookies.
Bro, we are going to Naivasha. Tulifika hapa, there's a supermarket somewhere just before you get to, I don't know, just slightly after Kenol. I was melting.
Which Kenol?
This canal ya Thika Road huko mbele.
Okay.
Hey, I was melting.
You went to Naivasha through Canal?
No, sorry, not Naivasha. There's huko kunaitwa aje?
Abadeas or?
No, there's a Nanyuki. Sorry,
okay.
Nanyuki.
Okay.
Not Naivasha. I keep on forgetting for confusing the two.
It must be the cookies.
By
the way, tell people edibles are more long-lasting and severe than smoking.
Tulifika hapo hadi everybody's just like, kwani huko unajua what you're bringing yourself? And I told them, guys, I do not take this stuff. Why will you do that for me?
So they never told you before?
They never told me, and I took two.
Oh,
I'm told that stuff you just need to pinch. to pinch.
Must have been crazy for you.
It was bad, bana. Hey.
You don't know how you got back.
Yeah, but one thing I will admit, the feeling for the feeling you're back, it's a very unique one. It's not like alcohol. You feel like you can do everything. You feel like flying. Mara kidogo kidogo. And we are riding on a bus and everybody is checking at me and me because like, what is going on? Why am I feeling this way?
There's something wrong here.
Something had been put.
How could be damn DVD. Do you know one or the other? In a way, it's more available there than any other place I know of.
Yeah. So I think that's my basic early career journey. Of course, right now I'm a bit grown up.
So you said you graduated and then you got into a bad relationship.
Actually, the relationship started when I was still in
the university.
In the university, I've gone through 3 severe bad relationships.
In the university?
Not in the university, in my entire life.
Okay.
And the most recent one ended in 2022 October. But the one in campus, that one almost killed me.
What happened?
Bro, it was bad. Well, see, Bana, Mara, things are just not working. Na mi pia unajua, I'm coming from a background where a lot of people leave me.
Okay.
I'm surviving through a lot of trust issues.
Yeah.
So anything that you'll trigger, anything that the lady will trigger that will affect my life one way or another, will definitely get bad for me. Now, most people who know my stories, of course, I did have friends who will see how bad things will get for me at some point. Yeah. Much as you may try to hide it, one way or another, people usually find out.
There's something wrong.
People usually say that I tend to date wrong ladies, and I think that's why I've been single.
Wrong in terms of they're not trustworthy, or
like I don't know. I usually when I'm starting to date, mtu anakuja kama ametulia tu, ana shida, and then gradually unaanza kuona tabia zingine funny. Now you see, the thing with me is, if you're my person, mimi, literally chances of you knowing almost everything about me is very high. Yeah, you literally know even.
So you put everything on the table.
Yeah. Now the problem is, and this is so. In fact, I was even saying today in the morning that I'll mentioning on this podcast. Human beings are very bad people when they realize you're vulnerable. Mimi, I've gone into places where people respected me, but the minute wakaona took a small fault, kumbe jamana struggle now, this two thing hapa na hapa, you just start realizing this.
They treat you differently. And then now with your trust issues, it makes it
makes it really, really bad. And you know, sometimes people usually treat trust issues as something that is extremely bad. You should feel bad about yourself that you have trust issues. Some of these things we are not.
You never chose them. Actually.
Yeah, we never chose them. These are things we are living through, and we have to accept. Maybe not accept, but we have.
And they have shaped you who you are.
Yeah.
So it's something that actually.
Yeah.
And I agree with you 100%. It's something that actually, if people could appreciate, and that's why actually we do this podcast. Like, for me, I believe most, like 99% of the most brilliant people in the world, or the most successful people in the world, they have a story that if you heard about it, you would actually be either learn or look at them differently.
Yeah, like you'll be what?
And know actually this shaped them to who they are. So if we start appreciating those journeys and not judge people based on their past and how life shaped them to be, we could actually grow together. I'm not saying it's a good place where you have trust issues, or you take time to trust people, or you realize people are hiding things from you, and you're like, oh, and I was upfront with you. Then that we can be able to collaborate more, to and grow all together.
Yeah, I think, and that is entirely true. Especially, I think one of the toughest lessons I came to learn is you're easily used if people know your weakness. Mimi, I was used, Wana. Hey, me nowadays, I'm not afraid of telling my story. If you want to call me a sissy, call me. Say, I'll be fine with it. Yeah. But it's better I say my story the way it is than live with a lie.
True.
My most recent relationship ended severely bad because things went south for me.
Okay.
When I left AT.
So financing was not that good.
Yeah.
So this person essentially came to you because you're doing good?
Yeah. Basically, that was it. I was on top of my career literally when she was coming in. I was being featured on KTN, do what. And then one day, one way or another, things happened and investments were no longer coming for startups that were in AT, so we were forced to exit.
Yeah.
And, much as I really did fight with accepting that things were done.
Yeah.
And I kept on saying, no, something is going to come up. And it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah.
I went back into severe depression and drinking early 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, early 2022. It was bad. It was terribly bad.
Yeah.
Terribly bad to the extent that I was almost diagnosed with liver cirrhosis. I was told I could literally die of alcohol.
What?
Poisoning, yeah. I was taking too much intake. Like, mizinga ka tatu ilikuwa si issue kubwa kwangu in a day. And then I think I started...
And here Mizinga, you're talking about Mizinga.
I'm talking of kwanza cheap liquor. Wachana na mzinga za JD. Me, I'm talking of Hunter's Choice. Me, I was escaping things that were almost killing me, bana. Now, unajua mimi you walk next to people and guys were like, "Unto see you, Beba Begi."
What?
And you're like,
Man, I can imagine I was here at the tea, so I didn't know all this was going on.
a lot of things happened.
So let me ask you, Charles, now that you're talking about this, have you considered quitting, the drink?
I literally don't think, let me tell you this, and I'll put it loud on speaker. The problem is not alcohol. I literally need, I think for me, my restoration started March 2023 last year. When this relationship was now over, because I took a lot of time to actually get over her. But one thing I started fixing was my mental reasoning. Where are you positioning yourself when you're going through a hard time?
But Kaka, you and I know, even if you got to marry, wed someone and everything, a woman might wake up one day and say, you know what? Or even they will not say, Nairobi, you find someone just moved. You just go to also and do your day-to-day. And then by the time you're going back, and I have a friend who actually took his life because basically that. Damn. So this is serious. So that's what I'm saying. If you know for sure if someone maybe, betrays you, because that's what you feel. Like someone betrayed you, it reminds you all the processes before that a lot of people left in your life. No one was showing up for you. And the only solace is drink. So are you more safer when there's no that drink altogether and you have made that? Because also that's mental strength of saying, okay, this is my weakness. Whenever I feel down, I run to this. And it makes my life worse. Why don't I just stop it altogether? Because anyway, alcohol doesn't add much value in anyone's life, right? Yeah. So, but I see like I'm throwing you off the cliff. Is also something that you have thought about, but ideally... Maybe, I don't know. But it's up to you, man. Everyone says any reform starts with it.
Let me ask you, do you drink yourself?
Rarely.
Yeah, okay.
Rarely.
Same here.
Yeah.
I rarely nowadays drink, but I do drink on a social capacity. At the time...
And I have my choice of drinks. So.
Oh, I see.
So I will not consider myself a guy who drinks.
I think that's why you started your statement by saying, I've never gone through depression. Depression inakusukumanga hadi unasema, now I want to be numb. Literally unaangalia time, unasema kwa nini jioni haifiki nilale. You're seeing like your entire suffering is just getting more and more. So the next thing you want to do is drink to pass out. Yeah. But I started working on my mental capacity. I started saying all these things I've been through in life, they were supposed to frame me in such a way that I'm supposed to realize my true potential and also realize why I exist in the first place. Bro, my reasoning completely changed. Like it completely changed to the extent if I see a problem right now, I'm like, wait, this is something that I'm just going to get over tomorrow. And it actually happens that way because, initially, your brain is refusing to wake up.
Yeah.
But right now, you've seen the kind of things you've done. Yeah. Me, sometimes I just get calls. When I was coming here, up at Tao, there's a lady who came to me and she was like, Prince Charles, CEO Beba Begi. I can hug almost a minute. Me, I'm like, sorry, who are you? I follow your work on Facebook and I think you're motivating and you're motivating even my son who is in high school. I'm like, these are stories that nobody, like there is some level of change that you're doing outside there. Ile time when you're going through stuff and you don't do it, you don't know how many people are depending or rather following your story. So I started realizing that I have a purpose. And my purpose is to first find myself. And by finding myself is to never let what is external affect my internal.
Ah, nice.
So
Looks like you're doing a good work.
I just had to. Because from around March, by then it was just like, that ile unatap meza and you're saying, I'm done. This is no longer going to happen for my life.
And you've seen a lot of change. Yeah, and man, I've seen you do amazing stuff actually from that match.
Yeah.
Because I think we were to do this podcast, I think earlier into late 2022.
And I declined because...
But I didn't see you anymore.
Yeah, I declined because I was going through my stuff, my moments.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm in a good mental space. A lot of opportunities are coming in. You guys will be seeing a lot on medias. And I think all this is just opening up because I decided that now I want to be very intentional. And every morning, for those who have, for people who follow me keenly, I usually post at least a word or two of encouragement because you never know.
This on all social media? Or
on social media.
Just
WhatsApp, but on stories.
Okay.
So WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. And some people actually come back and say, you completely changed my life with your way of reasoning. Guys are usually like, what did you do? Because there were people who saw me going through that. Yeah. And they were like, how did you manage to solve this entire thing? How did you manage to shift the whole boat in your favor? Yeah. And
but Charles, please take us through, most young guys and even old guys actually go through a lot of breakups and they treat it as betrayal, and both gender actually, because even if you leave a lady, she'll still go through the same, because if they really trusted you and they counted on you as a partner, start even having plans like how is this gonna look like, and then someone just says, you know what, I'm not part of that picture. Now what you struggle with is that, man, is it me? What's wrong? How am I gonna replace this picture? How is that process?
One thing I know for sure is, and I usually tell people this, if you find yourself in the same loop, you're dealing with the same problems every day, then just know you're not growing.
Okay.
Every day there has to be a new challenge. It is not possible for you to stay in a relationship where you're fighting over one thing over and over again. Now the worst part is when you're totally attached to this person and you've never been, you experienced solitude. Yeah. So now you're now alone. And the worst part is, relationships are usually, I don't know, I call them, they are weird. It's a symbiotic kind of a relationship, but one toxic thing, you're done. Yeah. Because there are certain people who get familiar with who you are. And once they do that, some of them invest in that. Yeah. And I've come to realize that the reason why I'm even single right now, I'm taking my time. I just want to build my career.
Yeah, build yourself first.
Yeah, I really struggled with relationships. I really did struggle. Some of them probably I was the problem. You never know. Yeah. Maybe some I wasn't. Yeah. But one thing I've always known is if you're in a relationship where you're constantly fighting over something, let's say I don't know, coming late or even alcohol. Yeah. Then you realize that this thing is never going to change. You have to put yourself back on the weighing scale and say, am I willing to deal with this more? Or is this the point where I say no? Okay. So for me, I had to say no because it was, I'm not saying it was alcohol by this. She was actually really good. She wasn't into drinking. Okay. But her lifestyle, the way she viewed life, we were two completely different people. And I know there is usually that bitterness. Wakuna ka uchungu fulani unabebanga. But I will tell you, MK, it's not about that bitterness. First of all, understand that you could be two very good people. You're just a mismatch.
You're not compatible.
You're not compatible. Because that's what I realized. Mimi, I know I'm a good person. Pia on the other side, she knows she's a good person. But when we come together, there's just sparks. Yeah. So I tried getting out of that. Now the worst part is, and like I mentioned, binadamu ni mtu akijua there is something yenye akifanya inakutrigger, you're done. They will constantly use that. And that's why I had to walk out. Because I realized, huyu ni mtu mwenye mini limit when I was really, really good. I never ran away when she was going through struggles. Yeah. Me, I was there for her. Yeah. She's going through stuff, I'm there. Yeah. But then I start realizing that mimi career yangu ikienda, when I'm now losing stuff, I lose my car. At some point my stuff were being auctioned, but I couldn't afford rent. Things were bad. After 8 years, it was really bad. Yeah.
I can imagine, since you guys were so many startups, I hope other guys are okay.
Hey, me, if I can, I usually just check up on everyone and say, and MK, it's not even about the lady. Yeah. It's literally all my friends. Every single person who knew me with the kind of lifestyle I had, mi nilikuwa naenda kwa bana baya watu pombe at 20,000-30,000. Ilifika mali where I don't even have 100 shillings, bro. 100 bob. Guys are giving me all sorts of excuses. And these are the same guys who ukiangalia in the
I
evening.
hope someone is going to learn from this, man.
Yeah.
I hope also you have learned from this.
Hey, me, I've learned. Me, you see now why trust issues sometimes is good. You're seeing? Yeah. Because
now if you're buying people 20 G's worth of alcohol.
I was friendly with everyone. Who is struggling. Kwanza time ya COVID.
Yeah.
There were people who literally called me, Prince, nimekoma na watu hii, something has just happened.
You show up.
Prince, please come and support my blah, 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 do this. Prince, please buy at our, you know. I remember there was a guy, my second car was a Beamer, BMW.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy it willingly. My friend was going through stuff and he was like, hey manze, mtu wangu anaenda operation na sina ido. So please just take the car, give me some money, hata kama ni nusu. If I ever get better, I'll refund you back, you give me back the car, or you completely buy it off. Man, when it was now my turn, everybody was gone. Let me tell you, I will look, contact list yangu over 1,000 contacts. I'm like, who can I call at this point? I text somebody, unasikia tu, hey manze bro, sahi ni kugumu. That evening unaona jamaa na kunywa JD in the same place where ndo ulikuwa unampelekanga.
What?
Humans, once, and this is something I've come to make peace with. And the good thing is, once you're at peace with something, I do not hold that bitterness.
Yeah.
In fact, when we even meet on the street and I know I can do something for you, I'll still do it.
Yeah.
Much as for you, it was easy walking out.
Yeah, someone actually being bad or, being the way they are is should not be a reflection of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And somebody once said that do not let the things that you can control affect the things that, or do not let the things that you can't control affect the things that you can control.
Yeah.
If you can't control the way somebody thinks about you,
control yourself.
Then control yourself. So for me, I decided I'm going to be who I am, not what they are trying to make me become. Because for a while I was bitter. I didn't want friends. I was just like, human beings are animals. I better even go and live in the jungle. But in the long run, I was like, this is the way life was designed. Somebody once said that problems never end. You just get better. And I think for some reason I've found so much peace.
Yeah.
Dealing with, having to, I do have friends, yes, but I no longer put people so close.
So you operate like you just Prince, that's it.
Yeah. If and the other thing I've come to learn in life, we also tend to give people too much priorities that they don't deserve. Una meet mtu kesho and you go for a few drinks, you start talking about life, nini business, and you're like, this is my best friend. You're wrong. You're totally wrong.
Kaka, looks like you learned that the hard way.
I learned. But it doesn't mean that you discard these people.
True.
You don't discard them. You just know
you
that
meet people for a reason also.
Yeah. You just learn that this person ni mtu mwenye nikikutana na yeye sahi, the best we can do is 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So, but my life needs 5, 6, 7 as well. So this 5, 6, 7, you'll get it from someone else who doesn't have the 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is life. So I don't know. The for some reason I came down and because I do have friends all over.
Yeah.
But no best friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have friends who I can go to when I'm having a business problem to advise me. But those friends probably are not the friends I can go out for drinks with, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I have people I can go to and talk about the next journey we are going, or rather the next flight we are taking for, a vacay. But those are not also the same people you can talk about football with.
Yeah.
So there is, if you actually look keenly, you do have friends who only feel a particular part in your life. And that's why I say it is impossible for you to have one person who is a full package. It is impossible. I'm telling you that. Yeah. And if you keep on discarding that, huyu jamaa unajua ni mzuri kwa kitu fulani, but kale kabaya kaki kinakufanya, you don't want to associate with this person.
Yeah.
When that time will come in life where you now need that person's advice, utaendea nani?
Okay.
Because you discarded them.
Yeah.
Though, you also need to realize if the toxicity is too much than the benefits, walk. Hey, one thing I never entertain is toxicity and drama.
Yeah.
Nowadays, even where there are fights, literally even if we are just drinking as friends and then fight itoke hapa, utaona nimetoka. Yeah, you guys will just contact me when you're done with the drama. Yeah.
So let me ask you then, Prince, does this, focusing on the positive side of things, apply to life partners for you or just friends?
Yeah, right now if you asked me to draw a perfect picture for the perfect partner, I wouldn't reason the way I was reasoning in campus. In campus we were free for the first time.
Take us through that. There are so many guys.
In campus, if you're dating a beautiful chileba, everybody's just looking at you like, So, and that was my problem in my first relationship, bro. Mimi, I went for a very beautiful girl.
Okay.
And guys are actually praising me on the side. Prince ni mnoma. But deep down, yule dema tukirudi kwa nyumba tunasumbuana. Juu anajua sasa, I am too attached to the level yenye, if I walk out at the moment, ni mimi ndo nitaumia. Yeah? Now the second one wasn't like that though. The second one was average, but yes, sasa ilifika point akajua I'm not going through a hard time.
Okay.
And I need her to stay. But she's like, my benefits that I was getting from you are no longer here. So nowadays, if you ask me right now to, just say, what is my perfect type of a potential? Hey, the first thing is drama free. Tuanzia tu hapo.
What is this drama? Please paint a picture.
Like, right now I'm at a podcast with you. If I get a call right now, I won't pick up. Me, I've been with people who
so that would be a problem.
Yeah. I've been with people who that is a serious problem too. Why are you ignoring my call? You should have even weka yo mic kando ni text alafu ndio urudi. So I'm like, wait, what? And then I realized as I was growing my career, it was difficult to balance the two. I need to attend meetings. I need to be with investors at some point. I need to
life is not just about
life is not just about me being with you, taking you to IMAX. Hey, bro, let us kind of plan let us have a plan.
And also realize that coming into my life does not cease to exist because you came
into my in fact if anything, a relationship is you accepting me the way I am, me accepting you the way you are. Not
it's a merge of the two.
So it's a merge of the two. Much as sisi wote tukona, there's no one who has no level of toxicity. Hata mimi pia ni mtoxic kivyangu.
What is you're the one who had problem when your calls were not picked.
No. Me toxicity zangu nayo.
Because now that one I'll tell you, maybe visit your friend Amerix a bit.
Let me tell you one toxic trait about me. Mimi kastaki kuongelesha nitakwambia niko kwa meeting. Na sasa na watch TV. Yeah, so some people find it really because
as an escape.
Yeah, I don't know how to say. Nowadays I'm learning to. I never knew how to say no, and that's why I was bullied. Mimi kwanza after AT, I had lost funding completely. But then my chile comes in and says, "We manze si leo tuende nyama choma," and I'm like, "Hey manze sina do." So and then I'm on a guilt trip. Hey, I will be guilt tripped. So you know what I do? I go to Talas manze. By the end of around May 2022, nilikuwa in loans of around 150,000 from Hutu to
which you don't know apps. How we will pay.
Yeah, I just say it's God. Because niliuzanga lockers flani to Gava, and at the time I was the sole proprietor. So
actually we'll talk more about that because that's another part of you that we have not talked about.
Yeah. So I think once I got that deal, I paid all my loans and I said enough.
Wow.
So I just said, whatever money I'm going to get right now, nobody has control. Because I realized, wait, hii pesa ni yangu. Ni mimi, I'm the one waking up every morning. To go and struggle there. Alafu wewe, you're bringing in with your demands. You're not try sana. And so the other thing is, so toxicity and drama, free, please. We will have disagreements, but we have to have a mature way of solving them. And that can only be seen during the dating phase. So mimi I'm not usually in that hurry of where nimekujua leo, we are getting married next year. Total disaster.
So how long do you stay before you get married with Prince?
Mimi right now, naona if I actually get into a relationship 2 years hata naona ni kidogo. Because people know how to
with the person.
People know how to hibernate who they are.
Oh, okay.
People are really good. People are so good.
They can act.
People know how to dramatize with it. Like unaweka tu mtu umekuja we ni, they usually say what in a sheep's skin something. Like unakuja you're so innocent when ni malaika. And then one day sasa umeshanijua from A to Z. You unleash.
You know all the vulnerabilities. Where you can all the buttons.
Me kwanza at some point, me in that relationship, my wrong buttons were being pressed anytime. I didn't come show. Hey, do you even know what I'll become? At that point now you're like, unajua unacheza na future CEO mwenye anaenda kwa on Times magazine hapa. So me but the reality of things is if you also give people too much chances of coming back, they will use you. They will use you because you see, mimi nilikuwa ile design ya we have broken up, you're done. 2 days, bro. Nimeenda kumtafuta. Kwanza I will be the one driving there hadi kwake. So it became an attitude. Kitu yenye saa alikuwa ameshazoea. Until one day, now, so you know, much as you're saying, hey, manzemi, one day I'll walk away. But the person is seeing you're still coming back. Obviously, hata kuchukulia serious. So later on, ndio nikaanza kurealize, hey, manze, I think this life is about me.
So you became a student of Americs at what point?
I think I've always been wanting to get this chance of talking about why I'm a strong believer in Americs. Not a strong
in everything, yeah?
No. I want to categorically agree that I relate with that guy's advice up to 60%.
Okay.
Kuna time
that's fair.
There's a time he posted something against hey, Americs, if you're going to see this,
shout out to Americs.
Yeah, they shout out to Americs. There was a time Americs said that men cannot be depressed. Men are just not disciplined. Hey, mi nilimwendea hapo kwa comment. Nikamwambia, bro, you have no idea what you're saying. I've been following your post, but today you've posted nonsense. If I'm a strong advocate of mental health, and there is no way you can just say, depression is lack of discipline. That's not true. I don't know. He didn't respond there, but some few days later on, he posted something about how to avoid depression.
Okay. So at least he listened.
He listened.
He weighed in on your thoughts.
Yeah. Now, that was one case where I disagreed with him. But on the parts where I actually agree with him are some of the parts where he's saying, do not entertain toxicity just because you're a man. Ati weni mwanamume unafaa uvumilie. Don't. They sometimes anatumianga technical or rather hidden language for people to understand, but you in the long run you get. Yeah. Now, I don't know why ladies tend to hate that guy, but maybe if I was a lady, I would.
But do they?
Ladies do not like that guy. In fact, every time I even retweet his stuff, guys are like, hey, where Americs na kibe?
They hate the guy because now they are not getting the fare, or
I don't know. Let me just say that his methods are severe. When he wants to talk about something negative about women, he
goes all the way.
Atachimba. But
is it because ladies don't like the truth, or
it's because the society has trained people to kind of escape reality. And even right now, me kwanza hii story ya Femis, I don't even want to comment on it.
Oh, the one that where ladies go to Airbnb, get killed.
Because you see, right now, there are two sides of the story. Oh, we are women, we are being killed.
Yeah.
But on the other side, you're being killed on what purpose? You are in private with somebody. Sisi sasa tukuja to defend, because they are now saying, women went to streets and said, we are supposed to be protected.
So this is someone else's problem besides the person who is in the problem.
Yeah, you are now accusing an entire the biggest thing nishaiua ni kuku bana. So when you say men are killing women and you need you see two people,
maybe they're telling the government. I don't know.
The government should do what?
Maybe take good care of them.
Government utupunguzia taxes bana. Because is there anywhere where you usually sign that I'm going to meet so and so in private? Because
of course not, but you see it's your right to for government to keep you safe.
How?
Providing security.
How? Oh my God! If let's say you meet a lady right now in the evening and you go for drinks and then you disappear, how is the government supposed to protect you on that? I'm not defending the government; they're hurting me in a way right now, by the way. But how, or rather, how should another man protect you in that case? These are things.
I mean, it's a tough conversation.
It's a tough conversation. But now the problem is society is picking ile side yenye people are making noise on.
Maybe the lady should have been here to tell us more about this.
Yeah, I feel like
we are two men who are discussing about ladies.
Me, I feel like we are not facing the real issue.
Yeah.
The real issue, let us face these facts as they are. If you're a parent, as your kid is growing up, teach them basic life lessons. Do not disappear into Airbnbs and private rooms with somebody you just met online. People are different. Somebody is not me and me, I'm not somebody else.
Yes.
And this also should cut across men as well. Over 70% of suicides in the world are men. Sisi hakuna mtu anatuendea kwa street protest.
That's true.
And sisi, you'll never hear us saying, women are causing us to kill ourselves. We don't do that. Mwanamme unakuja chini and you settle down and you say, I need to fix my life.
Yeah.
And the reality of things is, as it looks, things are a bit tough.
Yeah.
On how the society accepts certain things.
Yeah.
Mimi, I'm not saying that I will never in my entire life support somebody else being killed, woman or man.
Yes.
But there are some GBVs that are actually hurting men more. In Central, how many cases were reported of a lot of these things happening?
You'll be surprised not only in Central.
It's a lot.
It's all over.
Yeah.
But it's just that a man is conditioned not to say, you know what, I'm being hurt. Or even there are no organization actually to take care of this. But even right now, if I tell you to mention 3 women organizations, you could really mention some of them. But so if I tell you to mention even one, maybe for men, you never know where to start.
And I think that's where the problem is. The problem is not that these cases, for lack of, I wish there was a better way to say it. These things will still continue happening if people don't want to face facts.
But it should not, for me, how I look at it should not be men versus women.
Yes.
It should be the wrongdoers versus the innocent souls.
That is exactly my point. Because the fight right now is against men versus women.
Yeah.
Oh, men, women did this way. The reality of things here is every single person is vulnerable. Every single person is vulnerable. There is nothing like Mimi, because I'm a man. Now, Mimi, I can just go into Airbnb with somebody and know that tomorrow I'll be safe. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Let us face reality from do some due diligence with someone. Hey, me basi me no naishingi like funny. Mimi,
I wish there was a lady this. I have a couple of questions around this issue that I would love to ask a lady. But now there's none. Because also over time I've realized as men, by the way, we overlook a lot of things. And one of those things that how women think and perceive things.
Yeah.
Because for me, yes, I've been brought up as a man to protect a woman.
Yeah.
Right? At whatever costs.
Yeah.
Right? But over time, I'm like, are they willing to be protected? Now even you have to ask for consent for protection. There are all these underlying factors that are coming up that I will have to get some clarity from a woman. But even besides that, I feel like there's more problems than we think.
Yes.
Beyond even this killing and whatnot.
It's the way people have been brought up.
That also we need to take a step back and say, okay, look, people are getting killed, people are getting butchered. No one deserves that.
Yes.
Maybe a woman or man. But how can we address
that is the message we should take out there. Not that we need to fight this gender. That's not going to solve this.
That war has never been won since this world was made.
Yeah, apparently, I mean, I was in Cambridge 2 months ago, and those people are protesting about things that are literally affecting everybody.
What are they protesting about?
Ameenda kwa street akisema ati, this government, they were protesting against this Palestine stuff that was going on the other day, and their demonstrations were. I even posted it on social media.
Is it the Gaza thing? Or?
Yeah, it was the Gaza thing.
Gaza getting...
and they were holding very peaceful protests. The other day, it's, I think, less than a week ago, farmers were protesting against the EU. Nobody went there to make noise.
They're not getting paid, or what is happening with the EU?
They were complaining of some competition about them not making money with their agri produce and blah, blah, blah. The EU promised them that, they'll be buying from them, but then I don't know, they're buying from somewhere. Maybe it's America or Africa, I don't know.
I see.
These guys, they just took their tractors, they parked them on the road, wakaenda home.
That's enough.
The economy stopped. Nothing.
You listen.
Nothing. I like the way the whites protest.
So were they told, like, guys, we'll buy from you. Please take your tractors, or how was that?
Somebody had to come and address it. This thing was trending for a very long time. Sometimes last week, those guys just took their tractors, and this was across almost all EU companies. I mean, in countries, Germany, France, Belgium. I'm not sure about London, but Bulgaria, all those guys, they were protesting in a way that you can clearly tell that these guys are hurting, and if you don't correct this, they will go back there.
Yeah. But let me say one thing before we shift gears to all the men who are listening and all the ladies who are listening. Please stop killing our beautiful ladies. Africa's the most beautiful women in the world, hands down. Please.
That's true.
Do not kill our beautiful women. Also, women, do not kill our handsome men. Let's all live in peace. If there's a conflict, Let's find a way to resolve it. We can go dancing, release the energy, try to address it in a different way. Or just, go for an exercise walk or something that actually distract you. But I know it's not as simple as I'm putting it. But all in all, please.
And if it's not working, just split. There's no sin in that.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying it's not as simple as I'm trying to put it. Because I know by the time someone decides to kill someone else, there's so much that actually
happened. Yeah.
So seek maybe help, try to live. And I know also economy is contributing a lot in these issues whereby people are getting killed. So I hope we can create more opportunities, because now you see why we are using EU as a better way of demonstrating is because those guys actually, their worry is not where they'll get the next meal. Whereas we know our sisters here who have graduated, they don't have a job. It takes 10 years for someone to get a reliable income. So they have to go out there in Airbnbs to get an extra coin. Maybe they have siblings back at home who need their help. So there's more besides just saying, guys, stop killing each other, go for a dance and all that.
And those are also, the issues. Those are the issues we need to address.
There are a couple of issues here, and I like you are here because with Beba Begi and other innovation that you have can create even 2-3 more opportunities for everyone else, right? So I'll leave it at that, and I wish next time we get a lady here to check these conversations, because for us we can say, men are the one who build structures.
I know.
don't know what
we are building the nation,
trains and whatnot, but we never ask ourselves, by the way, can disabled people access these structures? We don't think beyond what we just imagine at that particular point. So but nevertheless, you are an innovator, Charles. Now that you have heard about your life, and you've built so many. You started with robots in school, and there's this product that I knew you through it, Beba Begi. And it's really a game-changing product, guys. If you think about Beba Begi, we're talking about a locker that you can, place your goodies, but you'll talk about it more. But for those who are listening to us from maybe other places, I'm sure people have picked their Amazon delivery. And you get a pin that you key in your locker, and you get your package and close it. So Charles actually figured this before Amazon, or just together with Amazon, almost the same time.
I wouldn't necessarily take that credit, but I will say I'm the one who figured out how it can work for over 85% of Africans.
Very nice. Which is just huge.
It's huge,
if Amazon was operating here, Chief, we will not be.
I'll be waiting for them.
We'll not be talking here without something to drink.
I'll create conversations with them. The only problem is anyway.
But I hear they're coming soon. They started with the data center, I think, last year. So things are looking good, man. Don't think like it all is lost. So please tell us more about Beba Begi. How did it start? The wins. I know you have provided your services and the infrastructure in different events, big events actually, in this country. You have sold to the government, you have raised funds, there is an investment in your please take us. People are thinking, Charles, heartbreak, depression. No, Charles has done some amazing things since he left university.
I think my journey in life was always written, even before I started knowing what I was meant for. Because to be honest, employment has consistently failed on me.
Have you ever been employed?
Yes. I've been employed before Africa's Talking twice. I've also been employed after Africa's Talking once.
So what happened before Africa's Talking?
Before Africa's Talking, it was just a matter of, again, stepping down. Because I just felt I wasn't growing. It was around 2018. This is when I was actually building the first prototype plastic model of Beba Begi. And there was just some push and pull back and forth. I wasn't growing. So I was even taken to the management and given a warning that, if you do not stop building this thing during, to be honest, I was working during work hours, yes. But you see, the thing is, this is a casino. In a casino, when people are playing, what else do you do? So I will write code.
Serve them drinks.
No. Maybe that's what they want me to do. So I just felt like there was no growth for me.
Were you a software engineer there, or?
No, I was an electronic engineer. So one of the things I will do is to basically make sure that I'm maintaining the electronics in the casino. But one way or another, there were some very sensitive cases there.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't doing something right. This competition for ranks in enterprises.
Yeah.
Mimi, I've never ever sat in a place where I'm employed looking up to how will I become a manager. And I think that's why I'm saying employment is not my thing.
Yeah.
So I quit, and I quit for a whole month. I did not know anything to do with my life until I was called at Africa's Talking.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't even know Africa's Talking.
Who called you?
I was called by a lady called Felicity, Gloria, and some guy called Martin. Martin is part of Lake Hub. He's running a business called Fab Lab Winam. Big up Martin.
Martin who?
Martin Olo.
Okay.
He's the MD at Fab Lab Winam.
Okay.
So they were also looking for a mechatronics engineer to run for them a project. But then I went there and I was honest enough. For the first time in my life, in an interview, I told them, here's the thing. If you're employing me, just know there is something I'm building.
This is Felicity Mencha, Gloria Kurere, Martin Olo.
Yeah.
And
I think those are the ones I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. So I told them the reality of things is I'm coming from this employment that I'm from because I quit because they simply told me I cannot continue building my stuff there.
Yeah.
So if that is the case with this job, I'll humbly turn it down and I'll just go back home Nilime. And they said, you keep on mentioning that you're an entrepreneur. I didn't even know anything about Africa's Talking. I didn't know about Africa's Talking Labs or anything like that. So they're like, do you have anything to show? So I showed them my website. And they were like, wait, you build all this stuff. So at the time, it was mostly robotics and stuff. But Kumbe Africa's Talking was building an IoT product. And they wanted some few products to test with it. So they said, hey, wait, you can't be employed here. You just come in as an entrepreneur in residence. So I helped build the product, the IoT product. And at that time, it was just... I want to say, I don't know, it was just the perfect timing. So Beba Begi was officially launched in Africa's Talking. We got some small funding that we launched the product with. So gradually over time, we've seen it grow. So basically, if there's somebody outside there asking what is Beba Begi, Beba Begi, I got the name simply from the fact that I got tired of carrying my bag. So Beba Begi stands for carry your bag in Swahili. So when we went to market, we were trying to resolve the problem of people walking with their baggages in town, an experience that I and my friend went through in 2013. I just didn't know it. 5, 7, 8 years later, I will actually be the one solving that problem. So we build smart connected electronic lockers that offer short-term storage as a service. So at the time,
who is we?
Beba Begi team. So there is Kennedy Jonyo, who I also happen to know at Africa's Talking. He was actually the head of product design in IoT department. And there's Benson Mushemi, who was building the PCBs, the motherboards, call them. So we later formed a team on the outside, and we've been building the concrete product until to date. So these are just lockers, but then we automate them in such a fashion that you can use them to either store or handle last mile delivery. And over time, it's not been easy, of course. It's entrepreneurship, and this is a startup. So we started off as a storage company, basically short-term storage for security. But the market has been demanding us to also explore other avenues. So right now we are doing what we call last mile delivery, where you find these lockers in town and you can rent them from as little as only 1,500 shillings. So when you're selling your stuff online, you just go put them in the locker. Then you tell your customer, you know what? Go pick them from the locker, and the message is sent to the customer. And so we have created different conversations. A lot of things are coming up. We are going to explore the Kigali market. So we got an interested party in Kigali. So we're going to see how handling last mile delivery we can tap into that market. And I think it's really, really interesting because in the long run, we're targeting the whole of Africa. Now, the question is, and I usually get this a lot, what makes you different from DHL and Amazon? DHL and Amazon have actually dominated the Western market, which is good. But you see what's the payment method in the Western market?
Plastic money.
Cards. Cards and electronic and stuff. When you come to Kenya, 85% of transactions go through M-Pesa.
Mobile money.
Mobile money. So in fact, myself, I do have Visa and MasterCard. But if I'm in Kenya, I will never use them. In fact, I don't work with my Visa card. Why? Because I know literally almost everywhere I go, M-Pesa is accepted.
Yeah.
This is a different conversations when you look at it from the other markets.
Yeah.
So we launched with M-Pesa, but right now we are working on incorporating both. In the long run, Beba Begi is going to be this brand where we can literally deploy in minutes anywhere on the globe and you use it. Because we will now be incorporating both Visa, MasterCard, iPay, you name it, all those payment methods into one basket. Yeah. So giving almost anyone in any location the capability to use the storage services.
Yeah. Do you use NFC technology, or how does it work?
Yes, we use NFC technology, but not necessarily for a one-time user. So we have those guys who are just visiting town for 2-3 days. They wouldn't need to register with us to get the NFC. You can just plug in your M-Pesa number there. You pay via the what we call the STK prompt payment, and it's automated 100%. So, but if you want to become or you want to use your loyalty card, then you can. And actually, that's where the point of global expansion comes in. Yeah. God help me to raise enough funding to scale globally. So we are looking at a platform where you can have a loyalty card, and the only thing you need to do is top up that card either via the same M-Pesa or Visa, and then that card, even if there's a Beba Begi in South Africa, you just go tap it and you use it, and that's it. So
can Beba Begi be used for long-term storage? Because I think also that's a problem that I've not seen proper, solution for it across Africa. Well, you see, like when you go to, Europe, US, there are those storage. Even you can go and put all your furniture in one place, lock it, and then be paying monthly, more like a rent or subscription. Yeah. And then when you come back, you can just come, remove your furniture, go and use it wherever you want to use it. So here right now, if you want to move, like in Africa, and maybe you should pay me for this idea. If you want to move abroad, you can only maybe donate those items to someone or sell them or leave them with your relatives. But there is no place for storage. Yes, and I think I heard of one, there's a business center along Mombasa Road.
I was about to mention that.
But it was, besides that, if it exists, that's what I mean. And I heard it from someone who was staying in an Airbnb again.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, that could be a very big solution.
Yeah, well, it's actually a conversation we've tried lifting with the Storage Central, the guys along Mombasa Road. Okay. But that looks like it's for very heavy stuff, One thing, the reason why we can't do heavy storage, like I can't store your furniture for you, is because we do not have a physical shop. So we use dead spaces in people's offices. Okay. So we do storage for the biggest stuff we can store is, let's say, the TV. That's like one of the biggest items, or a traveling bag. But if you want to put it in the context of long-term storage, it will not work because we do not have that huge level of space, or rather the ability to magnify to that end. However, the way we will attack that angle, and we are actually in the process of doing that, is partnering with people who are already in that business. So we give them the tech.
I see.
So it just becomes the tech for us.
For accessibility.
Yeah. So you could be having some go down in Mombasa or somewhere where people can store their items when they're traveling out. Yeah. And for us, we only just charge you for using our technology to monitor the whole platform. If anything, we don't even we are not exactly a manufacturer. We are not a manufacturing company. The lockers, we produce them though locally, but we don't physically take part in the manufacture. We design, send our hardware design. So these are the electronics, the lockings, the electronics, blah blah blah. They come here, we assemble, program them, connect them to our backends, and we deploy.
So you assemble them in China, or?
No, we do not assemble them in China. We design locally. And then, so the whole infrastructure, it's an IP protected design. Okay. So we send this to China. China produces. Okay. So these are the electronics. Okay. The only place that's cheaper to produce them from is China.
True. Yeah.
So once
for everyone anyway. So
yeah. So once the electronics are ready, or rather they have been produced, they're shipped to Kenya, and from that point we take over. So we assemble them, we test them, we program them, we assemble with the physical locker that we produce from industrial area. Our production partners are Ashut Limited. So once that it becomes, that goes to the client as a one package. Nice. Yeah. So now the tech part, The tech part is the most interesting part. Is not even the hardware. I mean, people call us hardware company, but I really don't think we are hardware. In fact, I think we are 95% software. Because hardware is just the metallic stuff that you're seeing there, but the magic happens
in
on
the lock itself.
In the lock and then the whole technology, the whole infrastructure, how you integrate M-Pesa and payments and all that stuff.
And the ecosystem is looking good. I see Maurice Beta is building some production. Don't know, it's an industry or something.
Yeah, Maurice, there's Gearbox, Europlacer, and the good thing is, Maurice and Dr. Gashigi, these guys are really friendly. The good thing with people who are growing, you can always see they're not in competition. They're usually like, we can do that for you. The problem is these startups know what Konama issues. So we are always the ones fighting each other. The people at the top don't fight; they collaborate. So Maurice Mbetsa is really doing some really huge job. I applaud that guy. He's my friend. That's the same conversation I will take to Akina Latif, Dr. Gashigi. I happened to visit Raspberry Pi Center in Cambridge as well, and it's just amazing how you can hear them talk about a product that comes from Kenya in a place where and they're Dr. Gashigi's the same doctor. Yes, we work really close with him, so it's a really interesting conversation on how digitalization of creating, the use of digitalized solutions in solving Africa's problem. And that's why I usually say tech is my food. I can feed Africa with it in a heartbeat. So these vertical and vertical conversations are happening. The good thing is a lot of people are starting to actually understand the importance of embracing tech solutions. And so there's a lot that is happening. Just like I've mentioned, I can't disclose everything, but there's some really, really interesting conversations. I think the next news that will be coming from us is the partnership we've made with Spot On Ventures. So Spot On will be having that package of storing your item if you're traveling, if you're visiting, and using their vacation packages. So you can use the lockers there. They also have some sponsored events where we will be giving storage as a service. And I think those conversations keep on growing. And then, like I mentioned earlier, this conversation in Rwanda is really interesting.
All right. And I understand you have used Africa Stocking technology extensively.
Yes.
Please expand on that.
Hey.
Africa Stocking is a part of the sponsor of this podcast.
I think Africa Stocking is always my home. First of all, let's even start with Sam Gikandi himself.
Shout out to Sam Gikandi, man. He showed up for so many guys.
That guy, me, I usually just say, if there's one person I usually pray for, Asigoye Anguka, no matter, I listen to his podcast and I inboxed him on that day in Kambia, boss. You've gone through all this stuff, even ukiwa na sisi. Yenyewe ulikuwa umetuweka under your umbrella. That guy, Sam is literally my mentor. And Sam has taught me things in life, either through directly interacting with me or sharing his stories with me. The good thing with him is he will not sugarcoat stuff. He'll just tell you things as they are. So Sam has really come through for me. Even right now, we don't have we're still at Africa Stocking, so this is still home for me. And I really need to bring it across that. I don't think, to be honest, without Africa Stocking, we will be where we are.
The story will not be
because
possible.
We started using all those services from them. At the time, there was payments, there was IoT, there was SMS. Literally, the 70 to 80% of Beba Begi's infrastructure was hosted here. And even right now, we're still using your services. So we are heavily using SMS. We are progressively advancing to USSD in the future because obviously we will want to expand our use cases. So and I don't see any. And the good thing is Africa Stocking has good footprints all over Africa. So it gets easier for us to even expand in another market because
scaling becomes much easier.
Scaling becomes easier. You can imagine if I have to start with a messaging company in Tanzania and then another one in Morocco and then another one in Egypt, it will be hectic. But then if you know that you're working with a company that is already in these markets, it becomes very easier. That's one. The second part is the kind of resources Africa Stocking gives me, even up to date. The people I interact with. I mean, you're one of them, Bana. And the linkages, the conversations that lift from one place to the next. It's just amazing. I think I think this is a place I call home, and it will always be my home for a very long time.
For sure, man. Anytime. It's just that sometimes things get busy. We want more prints in this ecosystem, but ideally we'll have all our IT users and especially devs, because devs actually can power the whole ecosystem. They can power more businesses. But also even for businesses, we have a special place for them because they create employment. So everyone who uses Africa Stocking, everyone who has a business in Africa, may it be originally from Africa or out there, I think that's part of the solution as we're talking about other problems that are facing, including gender-based violence. And when people are doing business, they never think about it that everyone is like, how much did I make this quarter? How much did I make this year? But beyond that, there are people you're giving a job. There are people who actually wake up every day, innovate, you give them that freedom. There are people who actually earn their living through these jobs. So shout out to everyone who actually believes that Africa business could be sustainable. They're doing it. Shout out to all the innovators, who are actually building new opportunities. And like what the hardware industry is doing when it comes to, innovation. So maybe in future you'll see people like Moritz Mbeta here. You'll see Dr. Gashigi telling their stories also, because I know all these guys, when you sit down with them, you'll be amazed. Already we had Sam Gikandi and he's continuing to do an amazing job. The other projects that are coming up that actually we'll be sharing soon. So big up to everyone. So Charles, what next for Beba Begi? But before that, there's something I meant to ask you. You talked about raising funds. Please take us through that journey. How much have you raised so far? Equity. What do you need to raise? You don't have to go to specifics, but just giving someone a bigger picture about raising funds. Are the customers the best investors versus venture capitalists? There have been that conversation in the ecosystem. So I don't know what your experience is.
So yes, I will be very honest. I am fundraising. On the lower ticket of a pre-seed. I've never fundraised before.
Okay.
So I'm raising on the lower ticket of a pre-seed at $500K. But basically this will be funds that will be used to scale in Kenya only.
Okay.
The reason why we are trying to basically reduce it to that level. Initially, I was raising 1.5, which I still am raising 1.5 on a larger ticket, seed round. This will go to expanding all over East Africa. But over time, we've realized that one of the things that has been happening around with investors is startups don't get far because fundraising is not an easy job. How many of us even started in AT and how many are still operational? Less than 30% of the startups are left. It's basically because we do not get those opportunities. But a lot of things that have been turning up. There's the Africa Prize, the Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation that is actively investing into African startups. And I think it's interesting. However, I will also be very honest. Most of the funding that has come into Beba Begi has either been from our own pockets or from the reinvestments we get from our customers. So I will say the first option for any business is obviously your customer is the best investor you can have, because at the end of the day, the person you need to impress is not even the investor, it's the customer. The investor can give you 10 million shillings, but the market slaps you with, we don't want your product.
Or you don't create value for them and then they end up not using you.
So I think the bootstrapping journey has also come up with a lot, because most of the time I'm usually the one even on the ground studying how things are. And gradually you start realizing that even if you would have had money earlier, you wouldn't have learned all this stuff. So I'm fundraising, and I'm fundraising in more or less 2 or 3 ways. One, there is the crowd through the VCs and the stuff, but there is a model with the Beba Begi that is called a franchise model. The franchise model allows anyone, at wherever you can invest in Beba Begi right now. If you have $1,000, you just basically put in, and then you have a locker of your own. You deploy it to an area where you wish, or you let us deploy it for you, and then you earn from the locker. And the good thing is you monitor everything on your phone, and we take care of everything else. So it's some form of an organic marketing, and we've gotten 2 people already investing using that model. They buy 1 locker and they see it's working, and they're like, hey, give me 10. So, and that's how we continuously push the business. So if we can actually push the business when we don't have funding, I can't. Yeah. So my dream right now is to expand all over East Africa, and I want to do this within the next 2 years.
Okay.
If I can actually dominate the East African market, then within the next 5 years, I can potentially and confidently say that I'm now ready for the African market as a whole.
Okay.
And yeah.
So in this case, you're saying if you have $1,000, you can buy yourself a locker.
Yes, from $1,000, you can have a locker station for yourself. You can even put it anywhere. If you feel like you need to put a locker at Village Market for you guys moving in out of the Sarit meetings and the expos, you can purchase a locker. We'll deploy. The good thing is we are very fast nowadays. We are not like before. We have already, perfected our skill. So we can be able to deploy a locker within a week from the day you set up. You make the initial payments.
Okay.
And even if you don't have the full amount, we do offer payment plans.
Okay.
Yeah, we can give you up to 10 months of payment.
Oh, very nice. And these lockers, how many compartments?
So it depends.
Okay.
We have different versions. There is a version that only has 1, another version has 10, another version.
So for $1,000, you get how many compartments?
Hey, that question is still relative because you see, it could be just one cabinet, but it has one big compartment, or it could be
so
just
it's
one.
Up to you to say, okay, please give me this compartment or this. Okay,
yes.
I get you.
Yeah.
That's nice. So when you're raising funds, what do you need?
When I'm raising funds, what do I need? See, of course, I need the funds.
No. I mean, like, what do you go in front of that investor with? Besides, we have, okay, maybe you have the product, like you said, but what else?
I think the most important thing is that my investor to understand the African story, the story we're trying to create value for. Yeah. Because we are not going to say that we are such a fancy business trying to change everyone's life. But we know there's a niche that is literally begging for this solution.
Yeah.
So when we go to an investor, or rather, I would also appreciate if there's an investor listening, the first thing we want you to understand is the story we're trying to create. It's not even that we have a fancy techno. Okay, we know we are smart. But in the long run, being smart doesn't...
It's part of the job.
Yeah.
It's like 10%.
It doesn't. Smartness doesn't put food on top of other people's tables.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's changing the African narrative because, like you said, you have traveled places. Maybe mimi ndo nimeanza kutravel
a bit.
I see you there. But the reality of things is we are suffering, yet we have the skill set here. The only thing is the only thing that I personally find hard with fundraising is it's very hard for investors to trust African startups. I don't know why. It gets easy when there's a person from outside. The white,
when you have the white,
the white syndrome. They call it the white founder syndrome. But that's. I mean, I am the one who was born here. I am the one who goes through this problem every day. I'm the one who understands it. So I think it's a journey that we need to travel together. Let's not put it that I'm not going to give you my money because you're from here. I'm going to give somebody else who can trust you.
Yeah.
And it's not been easy because explaining yourself to investors, and that has actually been a serious part of my problem because I'm always talking the customer language, not the investor language. I know if I talk to a customer, the chances of customer committing to use my product is very fast. In fact, it's chances are you won't even wait for me to finish 2 minutes. You'll be like, where are your lockers? But for an investor, they'll be back and forth. And now the worst part, and this is something I've gone through. This is very sad. There are investors, local investors, who are manipulating how startups are raising. It's a very sad thing. I will not mention names. But how do you give me a ticket? You say, I'm going to give you $100,000, but I'm taking 14%. No questions asked.
Because you got $100,000.
Yeah.
So would you say this is bribery or
this is
kickback?
This is literally robbing me of my company. I won't fundraising is a negotiation.
Wait a minute. They take 14% of your company for 100,000, or they take 14% of 100,000?
No, they take 14. They give you $100,000. They take 14% of your company. No questions asked. No bargaining.
So you raise how many times?
That's the question, because
9 times you have no company.
9 times you have no company.
And you have how much? $1 million?
Yeah.
So it's just like saying, Chief, let me give you $1 million, forget about this.
For yes. So
but I'll be using your technology, your mindset, your IP.
Everything that, yes. So I tend to feel like that's robbery. Now that's
are they Africans or?
Yeah, it's an African. In fact, I think it's Kenyan.
But don't forget, even when the colonizer was here, they were chiefs. They were not white. They were not colonizers. They are the ones who actually used to whip you and sell you. And, so all these things actually, if you study where we have come from, it's very important to be cognizant of what actually happened. These people do not, we actually live with them. We live with their children's children. All these people are there.
Yeah.
Maybe the mindset is still the same, where they believe that if anything has to happen in this country or throughout Africa, we have to get something out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's so sad to see it, but it's the reality.
Yeah.
So be careful for any, innovator out there, raising funds or building solutions. There are people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one narrative in the fundraising field that I know if I can strongly stand against, it's that.
But do you think if Africans should come together and, start investing in ourselves?
That's the other problem. The problem again is there are African VCs, in fact, Kenyan VCs. But then there are term sheets and the conditions of pushing investments into you. It's like they're telling you're doing you a favor. The truth of the matter is in when an investor comes into your company, he's not doing you a favor.
You're doing them a favor.
In fact, it's a 50-50 kind of thing. You're bringing in your money, I grow it.
Okay. As I grow myself.
Yeah, as I grow myself. So basically, it's not like, hey, me umeniokota kwa streets, unanipea do ndio nikue mtu. That's I think that's a very bad narrative.
So do you think poverty mentality, stigmatization that you went through when you were a kid is still even there, even at this level? Whereby people look at you, because you are Charles, I'm doing you a favor.
Well, I wouldn't look at it from that angle. Well, when it comes to business, I usually put everything I've gone through in life kando. Because in the long run, the story could be good, but you could have gone through the worst parts of your life. But if you're building a solution that creates no value for the African person, I trust me.
Deal.
Yeah. And the other thing is, the other thing I will also strongly say about investments. Western investors come into Africa and push money because of a good pitch. It's a very sad story. And then you push money into companies that you have they are telling you that they have done their statistics and their homeworks, and you fall for them. And then there's maybe a company too hapa chini. Nobody knows much about it, but it's actually doing things. So you push money. I could literally go into a pitch with someone else and they raise mbele yangu, and then they die after 2 years. Mimi, I've been in the market for 3. This is my 4th year.
Yeah.
And I think there's no enough data or rather research that is put into investments. Then now the final one. There are these guys who put up a pitch battle in the name of grant supporting CG, climate resilient, what blah blah blah. And this is not specific now. This is almost all of them. In 2022, November 22nd, I won a grant of $3,000. To date, I've never gotten that money.
Where did it go?
I don't know. So were we being used to basically, pitch our ideas there and then, because every time we try to raise, because founders go through a lot. So when you tell them that, you have won $3,000 and it will be disbursed to you in 3 months, a founder is already writing up how that money will be channeled now. So when you don't give them money and the excuse you're giving are quite lame at our partners have not disbursed the money. And so the question is, why are you putting up something that you didn't have money for? Then that's suspicious. The worst part is we've even tried directing this all the way to the governor, Nairobi County. They say, when somebody says that, he wants to put his money wherever, you can't control it. But I'm telling I really did try and argue with them. I believe, he recently just resigned. What is his name?
Angola. Victor,
yes. I've had a very, very intense conversation with Victor on the same. And I did tell him, hey, Manze, you guys need to have some sort of way of regulating which accelerator programs are being accepted. Because some of these guys are just idea mining.
They come in with the county government or?
No, they don't come in with the county government. Si mtu anaweza mua tu sahi yake competition inaitwa Africa's Talking
Climate
podcast, for instance. You come in and present a few big videos of your podcast and then you're told you've won. Kumbe, these guys are just I call them idea mining. Because if you're not giving me money, then what are you doing? You want to hear my pitch, you tell me I send you my pitch deck, my traction, blah, blah, blah. Do you know, it gets very easy for you to steal my idea from that.
True.
Yeah. So I think this is a battle that I've fought for so long. Nowadays, I'm just pitching and moving. So you know you won. I'm like, oh, okay, so. Because...
You no longer believe in it anymore.
Hey, startup founders. Some Gikandi alikuwa anasema, for you to be a startup founder, you must be crazy. You're not a normal person. The kind of things you're dealing with.
So finally, what next for Charles?
I think right now, one of the biggest things is we are about to release a version 3 of the product, or rather Beba Begi. And this will see the product being having diverse use cases that solve even the problems of the mama mbogas.
Okay.
So one of the new use cases we are exploring is using solar powered technology for the lockers in handling last mile delivery for fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
The problem is right now, even in Northeastern, is food has to move all the way from Central all the way there. And then ikifika hapo, people are rushing to take it to the market. But what if we could put the ATM lockers but now refrigerate them using solar in even remote areas?
Are you considering to partner with Kuza Freezer from Mombasa?
We were in the same project with them, Africa's Prize. We were with them in London.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't entirely initiated that conversation, but there's a conversation going on with Jumia, but it's a slow one. There's a conversation I initiated with my dawa. We want to use the lockers to dispense medicine. There's a conversation we've initiated with a couple of other startups. But one thing that has come into light is our biggest market is actually the SMEs.
Okay.
Because it takes a shorter time for approval. So, and Jumia, for lack of a better word, Jumia have been tumekuwa tukiongea nao for a very long time. We've been talking to them since 2019, and we're just getting back and forth. And tomorrow a startup in logistics comes and says, "This we can use this. Please, please deploy it for us." So that's one. And then the other one is we are taking lockers to the coast. So ukiwa pale Pirates, you can now work with your laptop. Ukijua utaiweka tu pale, haitapotea, because Pirates unajua inajaa up to over 4,000 people in a single day.
Let me ask you something. Now that you've talked about Pirates and the context, is it possible to carry the whole locker if you wanted to take whatever is in that locker? I've seen people actually carry the whole ATM and go to deal with it.
Hey, that's always a question. I have never ever gotten into an audience where somebody failed to ask me, kama mimi niko serious na najua what is being stored in those lockers. Yes. Maybe somebody is selling iPhones on those lockers. They can carry them. That's worth millions of shillings. But one thing that we constantly do and we usually tell our customers is we do not deploy these lockers just anywhere. The first thing we do is we conduct a site visit to we conduct a mandatory site visit to ensure the security of the area is up to date. So we put the lockers in areas where there's frisking before you even get into the enterprise. So if we go to Pirates right now, we won't put it next to the water there. We'll go and talk to KWS, put them in their offices, or talk to Moonshine. And these are the guys we call agents. So even right now in Nairobi, with our 4 spots active one, including Africa Stocking, that will be 5. We have to make sure that if you want to become an agent, we have to come to your site. We approve that, okay, security is checked, there is frisking at the entrance. We train the agent on how to operate the lockers in the event there is any eventualities, because much as it's automated, we still anticipate the weird cases. And we try to cut them as soon as possible. So mandatory site visit is a must.
Very nice, very nice. So Prince, thank you so much for gracing our podcasts.
Thank you very much.
How was your host, Michael Kimathi?
Mike is great, Bana. I think taking this conversation a notch higher on a podcast is really, really great. I must admit, this is my first experience in a podcast. I've never done this before. I usually just see people wearing these big things. Yeah, but thank you so much. I think this was also the good thing with these things is you do realize when you're telling your story, you do realize what this is actually me telling my story of how far I've come. So this was very also informative session on even finding myself even more. So yeah, I really do appreciate, and I hope my story reaches out to somebody who may need it. They usually say that whatever it is that you've gone through in life will be somebody's map into getting through something hard, or a hard time they're going through. So yeah.
Very nice. You want to shout out to our listeners, fans and whatnot, and encourage them to share,
Yeah, I think young people, particularly the youth, I usually say, I'll never stop being a youth. So the youth, the thing is, we all have stories. And I think sometimes trying to tell the world about these stories, because you tend to feel like there's some sort of stigmatization, and this is not just about gender-based kind of a story you need to tell. Come out. If something is holding you back based on what you have been through, I want to tell you that I really did conquer a lot of things and some of them still do happen, but nowadays I'm just like, this is something I've tackled before. So come out of that shell, because sometimes, like I said, if you're in a loop where you feel you're not growing, you need to start finding a way out, because that loop is remaining in one place in the whole of your life is not how you are predestined to to grow beyond. You'll never realize your potential if you're sitting in a comfort zone. So step out of your comfort zone, find your place in the world, and create a difference.
Very nice, very nice. So thank you so much again, Prince. So please subscribe, share, like. This is Michael Kimathi for Impact Masters in collaboration with Africa's Talking. So for me, I've made it a habit to part shots using African proverbs or proverb from the wise men or wise ancestors. And today's proverb is a man's honor is like an egg. If he does not hold it properly, it falls and breaks. That's a proverb from West Africa. Until next time, see you.